IMR hi-skor 800X smokeless powder. Thought I'd share some of my observations from using this powder in a few different loads, both for semi-auto pistol and revolver. Maybe I'll do a couple videos like this, see how it works out. My observations, of course, may differ from yours because there's a multitude of variables that goes into this whole thing, as I'm sure you're aware. So if your results differ, that wouldn't be unusual. But if they're similar, that just reinforces both of our experiences. So I decided to try this powder because it was listed in the Lyman 3rd edition pistol and revolver hand loading book as likely to be an accurate powder. So I thought I'd give it a try. And I'll get into that in a moment, the accuracy. I'm going to roll in a picture of the powder with a small pistol primer just to give you an idea of how big the flakes are. It's a large flake powder, what I'll call a large flake. And that gets right into metering. I think that affects how it meters. This stuff I did not have good luck with it metering through this Dillon powder measure. It's very inconsistent. Typically would vary a few tenths of a grain up to maybe 1 grain. It was different every throw. So yeah, it's not metered very well, at least for me, in this powder measure. But as far as accuracy, and my accuracy, I'm not doing anything special when I shoot. I'm not using any special rest or anything. I'm just shooting strong hand support under relaxed conditions at paper. But I did see, even with the wide variation in powder weights, I was seeing better than average groups out of various powders that I've used to hand load with. So accuracy, I think, is pretty good, amazingly, especially once you hear about the rest of my experience with this. I suppose if you were to weigh your charges, each one individually, you could probably get some really good results with accuracy. So I'll give it a high score, no pun intended, for accuracy. Now velocity, I chronographed several of the loads, and one thing I noticed was that my starting loads came in under the published velocity, and as I approached maximum loads, I was actually exceeding published velocity, which meant before I hit the maximum weight, I was most likely in an overpressure condition. And I noticed that my primers were getting very flat, so I stopped. And at that point, out of, I think that load was, I don't have my notes here, but it was maybe a 1,000 foot per second load, and I was coming in at around 1,100. The other thing, because it doesn't meter well and they get a lot of variances between throws from the powder measure, I had one load that had an extreme spread of 227 feet per second, and that was with a load that averaged 790 feet per second and had a published velocity that should have put that load around 930 feet per second. That was an extreme. More typically, I saw extreme spreads of 100 feet per second. And again, that's just the difference between the slowest shot recorded and the fastest shot recorded in a string. I also noticed that when I used it in revolvers, it generally came in lower than published velocity. But I guess if I use this powder again, I will be watching velocities very closely with a chronograph to make sure I don't get into any kind of dangerous situation with high velocity, high pressure. The muzzle flash has an interesting muzzle flash. I noticed a lot of what appeared to be sparks, but were most likely unburned powder, or burning embers, or burning flakes of powder coming out of the barrel. It's quite noticeable. It just looks like a lot of sparks when you fire your pistol or revolver. Another point worth noting is this is not the cleanest burning powder I've ever used. That's after about 200 rounds. Observations of this, again, the loads do not come in near published velocity, at least on my chronograph, in the conditions I was shooting and all that. But I think if you wanted to give it some time and weigh your charges, you could probably, this might be an accurate powder if that's all you're looking for. But velocity, and again, that's with the wild velocities I was seeing. I was seeing good accuracy. Don't ask me to explain it. I'm just sharing with you what I observed. So, yeah, it could be an accurate powder, but I don't weigh every charge on a scale. Whatever comes out of that's what I get. So I tend to use other powders that meter well, and I'll get into those in another video. So if you have any observations, please put them in the comments. Maybe you agree. Maybe you had some other observations that might be worthwhile for others to know about. So again, feel free to comment. Just keep everything polite. Thanks.